President Donald Trump is trying to refocus on his top legislative priority. He's using a Pennsylvania visit to pitch his tax overhaul, and he says truckers will benefit. White House correspondent Mark Irons joins us with more. Good evening, Mark.
Good evening, Wyatt. The president will argue tonight in Harrisburg that his tax reform framework will help truckers by lowering their tax rates. The president has been traveling around the country trying to sell tax reform to Americans, but are Catholics buying it?
President Trump is diving back into the tax fight, this time with truckers. Earlier this year, he invited a group of them to the White House.
No one knows America like truckers know America. You see it every day, and you see every hill, and you see every valley, and you see every pothole in our roads that have to be redone, right?
Now the president is pitching his tax overhaul as a boon for truckers. Trump wants to cut corporate tax rates from 35% to 20%, reduce the number of personal income tax brackets, and boost the standard deduction. And he says his plan would benefit truckers by lowering their tax rates and making it easier for families to pass their trucking business on to their children.
Any sort of tax system, any sort of tax reform, you have to keep the family and the human person at the center of it.
That's what Catholics should consider when reviewing the president's tax plan, says Robert Warren, an accounting professor at the Catholic University of America. He says one positive change is the proposal to raise the standard deduction.
That means that families would not have to pay taxes on their first $24,000 of income. It takes some of the lower income people off the roll so you don't have to worry about them, and hopefully it puts more income into the pocket of the family.
But Warren says Trump's plan ignores the tax gap, and it shouldn't be overlooked.
There's one big gap in Mr. Trump's plan, by the way, is that it doesn't address what we call the tax gap, which is the amount of money the IRS should be collecting but doesn't because of basically due to fraud.
Professor Warren says that due to fraud, the Treasury Department loses about $500 billion every year, which limits the ability to pay off national debt. Professor Warren says Catholic social teaching is clear. Government shouldn't burden additional generations with huge deficits. Wyatt?
Mark, with the push for tax reform, some pro-life groups are calling for a tax bill that would defund Planned Parenthood. What can you tell us about that?
Pro-life advocacy groups are looking to use any vehicle to defund Planned Parenthood. That effort came up short in the failed health care bill, so now they want to include it in a tax reform bill, but that proposal is facing opposition from both Democrats and Republicans.
I'm sure it will be an uphill battle from there. Correspondent Mark Irons at the White House, thanks so much.